Hi guys, welcome back to Tom Mods Things. Today we are back in the shed and we are potentially going to have some help with us today. Got my mate Jack coming over in his A3 a little bit later on to give us a hand with getting the fuel pump going on this and potentially getting the car started today. We're also going to go through all of the spare parts that we've got for all the interior pieces, and we're just going to pick out the best bits basically, and exactly what we do and don't want to keep, because there may well be a few parts in there that are damaged, hence why there's two kits. So we're going to spend a bit of time to go through it all and take you guys along for the ride. Stay tuned. Let's just give you a heads up, this is kind of what we are dealing with at the moment. Obviously, as you can see, covered in dust and pretty horrible, to be honest. So we're going to end up working through all of this all around the garage, all around the back. Two different interiors here. I think we'll probably keep this one because I prefer the style of it to this one, but we'll just make sure that all the bits on it are okay, because if anything's damaged then we'll have to look at potentially replacing it. So we're just gonna crack on through all of this, same with all the glass as well. I think we're gonna go through all of that and then just sort out all the bits we do want to keep and all the bits that are then spare that we can let go, and yeah, it should be pretty good. I think seats are the only thing that kind of don't match with the they match with this one but not with this one, so I think well, we're going to get either new seats or retrimmed anyway, so I don't think that's really the end of the world. So I've worked out with the rear parts at least what the difference is. Effectively one side has rear speakers and the other set doesn't, so must be an option really, or on one of the particular models where that was the case. So yeah, so I thought it was interesting to show. Here we go, this is what we have amassed and cleaned at the moment. As I said, a couple sets of door cards, different styles and stuff over here. Been trying to work out which one's which. Tons of like doubled up on various pieces of interior, some of them are damaged, so I think that's probably why we've got doubles of certain things. Apologies, road noise. And then other bits we've kind of just found, like another chrome sort of surround, two versions of the sort of centre console, one with sort of buttons cut out. Now what I'm thinking is those were cut out because the maybe original, which are the manual sort of door handles, were swapped out for or at least attempted to swap out for sort of an electrical version of it. So I think that's why we've got kind of doubles of everything. And then working out with the rears, I think we'll use the ones that have got the speakers in. Already spoken to sort of some people on the owners club which have said those come on the higher spec models, obviously for the extra speakers, so great. I think we'll probably chuck those in, but yeah, cracking on a bit, going through all the stuff.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Right, and as you can see, that is a pretty monumentous occasion, is that we've managed to get this car started after the crazy amount of time that it's spent not running in someone's workshop. All it took is that we're not getting an electrical feed to the new, well actually, so what we did is we replaced the fuel pump for a new one, because as we took the old one out we could see that it was totally corroded inside and all the connection points had been destroyed. So there was no doubt, even though that I was trying to run a 12 volt feed to it, that it wasn't working. And then after that, what we've done is we just run a live feed straight from the positive on there to the positive on the battery, and in doing so effectively bypassed the the wiring loom, and also all the relays, which then gave the fuel pump a constant feed, which kicked it into life, and then tried to start it to begin with, which didn't work straight away because obviously it was still building pressure. So then we moved on there and we took all the spark plugs out. They were looking pretty grimy, to be fair, so we got some contact cleaning. We've cleaned them all up because we popped to Halfords and they didn't actually have any of that particular spark plug in stock, and there wasn't really anywhere else nearby that would get it. So I'm going to pop to Euro, I think, next week, and we'll pick up some new plugs and everything now. Got filters and oil and everything, swapped all that over before we started back up again. And then we left the fuel pump running for a bit to just build up some fuel pressure in the rail, and then kicked it in with a bit of throttle, and then that's what you saw then, which was it firing up into life, obviously with no exhaust pipe and not been started in ages, and the oil probably a little bit suspect, which is something we're now going to change now that we've got it running, and also no coolant hoses connected and all sorts, so we couldn't keep it running for a while, but at least we know it works. So what I'm going to try and do is work my way through the wiring loom to work out why the fuel pump's not priming, and why we're getting no electrical feed to it. And then if I for some reason can't get to the bottom of it too easily, what we're going to do is run a switch to somewhere underneath the dash so that we can manually switch on and off the fuel pump, which will be fine. It'll get us up and running again, and it also means that in the sort of interim I can start getting the interior back in and certain bits like that sorted back out again, which is something I've been doing, which I can sort of show you guys in a sec. But I've been using some detailing products to bring the plastics back, and it's going pretty well at the moment. And then with those plastic components, we've been asking some questions as to why certain parts, because we had doubles of everything. So I've worked out that we've got like rear door cards with speakers, which came off the GTI, which is cool, and also off the VTS Saxos. So they're really good to have, so we're going to definitely be using those because it's got the perfect grills and everything in there. It's all absolutely pristine, so we'll bin off the more POV spec versions of them where they haven't got that in, and then there's also a lot of other parts which are also of the same thing, where certain bits are on the higher spec models than the lower spec. So we've been trying to get to the bottom as to exactly what's been going on with this car, and what we think has happened is it's an XSI, which is the 1.6, which we believe now is the engine inside. The box is definitely a 1.6. The bottom end looks like it's a GTI, but that could well be the same bottom end as the XSI 1.6. And then the top head of it looks like a 1.1, but that's also the same head that they use on the 1.6 XSI model. So we think that there's been a case of donor car situation where certain things have been so the original car got purchased, and then there's been a donor car at some point in its life which may have been a lower spec model, which is where all of these additional parts have come from, or replacement parts have come from, so sunroof in place. But anyway, still loads of question marks, to be honest, with all of this, and also still question marks over the just where it's come from and stuff. So anyway, we'll get to the bottom of it, but this was a pretty big occasion for this, for sure. I know I've definitely secretly been slightly concerned that we'd potentially have to do a lot more work to get it running, but it's a lot of weight off my mind in particular to get it at least kicking over today, even though it did sound a bit rough, and also a hell of a lot louder than the Porsche as well, which I thought was absolutely hilarious because it's just got no exhaust pipe, it's just a downpipe straight under the car, which is leaking big time. So we were going to replace it anyway with a 4:1 stainless steel manifold, so while we're doing that, we'll replace all the gasket on there anyway, so that's not a problem. And now that this has started to happen and everything's working as it should, I can start to put all the engine bay back together, while still attempting to strip out some of the unneeded wiring, like for all the Clifford alarm system and stuff, because I'd rather start afresh with that sort of stuff, because that's like ancient tech now, really. So no doubt certain aspects of it are hardwired in, so we might run into a few electrical gremlins as we go along, but that's all part of the fun. So yeah, really good day today. It's been pretty damn awesome. So next stages to this, and apologies for the wet floor, we had an absolute torrential downpour and my gutters ended up blocking, so it all swept into the garage, which was perfect. But if we have a look at some of these plastic parts, these have all been quick detailed and dressed, but just look how nice and clean all these parts look now that we've cleaned off all the sort of grime and stuff on there. So all the plastics are looking pretty pretty nice, to be honest. There's a few areas where like rubber bungs and stuff will potentially need to be tidied up a little bit more, but just like, yeah, just lovely, really nice. So this is all going to go back in the car, all of the pieces, and then we've got a load of spare bits which we're just leaving out here for the moment. We'll see whether or not anyone wants them. If someone does want those, do just comment, and I will happily, if you want to arrange a courier, send them out to you. So we got some like rear door cards, original mirrors, sort of a partial shelf which has been bleached by the sun, which I'll bring all back inside to keep them. Glass, we still need to decide what we're doing with that, and we still need to find a windscreen as well, because it was missing a windscreen when we bought it, so that is something we need to put in. And then we're just working out what we're going to do with this, because it comes with manual regulators, but then there are these electrical regulators that have been installed, so it'd be a shame to rip all of that out, but we are definitely going to be changing out the switches that they had put in at the bottom, because those switches are all really rusted, and then the actual thing that they used is this one, which I haven't cleaned on purpose, but they did a sort of a fairly rough cutout of where the window switches go down there. So I think we can find some nicer switches, and we've actually got an unaltered version of that as well, which is really good, and that's really, really nice and clean as well. I think it's in this pile somewhere, but anyway. So yeah, all coming along really well. Starting to see the wood from the trees a little bit, which is good, and confirmation now that we can move on to the really fun stuff, which is all the exterior mods and that. So next stages for me are going to be starting to get the interior back in places where I can. We're going to work through and try and get a live feed from the ignition to the fuel pump, so it turns on with the key, because that would be ideal. And then failing that, we'll do what I said, which is to add another switch in. There's a few things I need to do, so we're not keeping the original seats. We're going to put new seats in, because the seats that came with it were pretty horrendous, to be honest, so we'll change those out and put new ones in, whether or not that's buckets, and then we'll put some brackets in for that. I need to find headlights, because the original headlights have got cracked lenses, so I can't use those to modify or make custom lights, so we'll either pick up some standard lights and then modify them, or we will try and find some angel headlights, which would also look pretty good on the front of the car, but they're sort of quite hard to come by, or quite expensive, because you have to buy them brand new, and they're only for left-hand drive cars as well, so we'll have to have stickers on the front of them to have them legally in this country, which obviously isn't great. And we're also looking out for a headliner as well, because the headliner that came with the car is horrible grey and also split in half, so we need to find that from somewhere. So anyone that knows kind of where to get hold of a headliner, or has one maybe knocking around, would really appreciate getting in touch, so that we can come up with a deal where we can get that off you potentially for this. So yeah, I think that's everything from me today, to be honest. That was a video just to try and get it started, and some of the complications with that, and just a quick update. Obviously I posted up the previous video, which was showing you that we'd purchased some side mirrors, the new ones, which are just there. You can see them on the side, just there, which were the M3 ones, which you guys all picked, which was great, and as I've said, I think they look epic, to be fair, so really good choice with that. That was definitely one of the ones that I would have gone for as well, so I was secretly quite glad that everyone had kind of agreed with me with that, to be honest. But we would have done whatever you'd asked for, to be honest, even if it wasn't something that I would have necessarily chose, because this is the point. It's as much mine as it is you guys as well. That's the whole point. We're just giving everyone the opportunity to have fun with this sort of stuff. So anyway, cheers guys for watching, and stay tuned for more of the excitement, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.